Hi there. I think I'm live. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Supercharged Fridays at the 3.4 years mark. How are you doing? If you're watching me live, tell me in the comments that everything works as it should. Give me a thumbs up. Tell me where you're tuning in from. We have I think, a very, very useful topic today about coaching and when you think is the right time to hire a coach. And I'm specifically going to talk about career coaches because that's the area I operate in and it's the area I best understand. So if you're watching me, come in and say hi. How is it going? I hope your week has been well. And what are you up to? Let's get into it. So thank you for tuning in, and yeah, let's talk about career coaching, right? And um, so before we get into it, I also wanted to say that yesterday I did a live masterclass. If you missed it, I'm just thought it would be worth sharing. I did a live masterclass privately on the topic of job searching in 2023, and what is the same, what has changed, how would I do things differently if I were to do it all over again, what helped me in the past to be successful, all of that good stuff. So if you caught that, let me know what you thought of it. What did you take away? If you're watching me, tell me what was your favorite in it, favorite things in it. I'd love to hear that feedback. And if you didn't catch it live and you would like to see the replay, please could you put, if you're watching me on LinkedIn, put in the comments hashtag, just put replay. I want replay. Just write that, and I will make sure I link that for you. Just message me on LinkedIn or send me a connection request with this question. And if you're watching me on YouTube, because I don't always see the chat function later, if you're watching me on YouTube, put it in the comments, not in the chat, but in the comments that you want to see the replay, and I'll make sure I share that with you. So yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in. And it is also sunny here in Belgium. Absolutely lovely to see you guys from around the world. We have our favorite person from Finland in the house, Christine from New York City. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Where are you tuning in from, Leon? I'd love to know. Yeah, we have so much to talk about. Hello, Adriana. Happy Friday to you as well, and to one of my favorite New Yorkers, Adam. Christine, fantastic. So I will definitely make sure I share the replay with you. If you had, by any chance, if anybody watching had already signed up to the masterclass, you would have got the replay yesterday because you are now subscribed to a few marketing emails of mine, just to make sure that the follow-up is there, because fortune is in the follow-up. Follow-up is so important, right? I teach that, but I also practice that. So if you had signed up, I think if I'm not mistaken, Christine, you may have signed up, unless there's another Christine in my list, because there were hundreds on the list. So you should have received that yesterday. So I'm just checking to make sure if that works. Hi, Lisa. Thank you guys for being here. South Africa, fab, lovely. UK is in the house. New York City, Copenhagen. How are you, Nick? Good to see you. All right, let's talk about. Thank you to everyone who said they would like to see the replay. I'll make sure I link that here. The replay will be active for not a long time because it's going to be taken down, and that's important because if it's there forever, you know what, you're not going to watch it. But if there is a scarcity and it's genuine scarcity, right, that's important. Everything I learn, everything I teach, it comes from practice. The same thing applies to job search. If you are someone who has multiple offers in their hand, guess what? Companies want you more. And I'm not saying you fake that, but it's one of the things that makes you more desirable. And then you have an urgency, you need to get back to that company. It's the same thing that applies here. So I think the replay will be live maybe another 24 hours, and then I'll be taking it down. So if you had signed up to the masterclass, you would have got a follow-up email from me yesterday, and the link to the replay was there. And if you didn't, I'll make sure you get that today as well. But if you have not signed up and you want to see the replay, I'll put it in the comments, but make sure that you watch it in 24 hours from now, whatever time you're watching me right now, because after that, it's going to be gone. Yeah, do check the email. Thank you. Fantastic. Canada's in the house. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And I also give examples of how not to follow the herd, right? Joy, I hope that was helpful as well. Okay, good. All right. So let's get into it. I want to talk about coaching. And I want to specifically talk about career coaching. I think this is a very open industry and it's a very open term. Anybody today, did you know anybody today can call themselves a coach? Not everybody today can call themselves a doctor or a lawyer or even a teacher. They have to have had certain training or a pilot. But anyone can call themselves a coach. So on one hand, it's open. The barriers to entry are, it's open. You can say that's a good thing or a bad thing. It depends from the point of view of the person who's enlisting these services. Because if anyone can call themselves a coach, there are no checks. There are no regulations. There are no quality checks. So it's very important that you understand the term coaching and what it comprises of. So I'm going to share a few of these thoughts with you today. And I also wanted to say before I get into it, so we're going to be talking about coaching today. Saiful, hi, thank you for tuning in. Today we'll not be taking like a open office hours type of thing because we're going to talk about coaching today. So I will kindly request you to share questions with me next week because the subject today, I want to make sure I stick to the subject because this is also the reason people are here. I also, hi, Advait, thank you for letting me know. I didn't know that. I'll check my inbox is a mess at the moment. I also wanted to say yesterday I launched the group coaching program. So if anyone is actively looking for jobs and is feeling stuck, check out the information I have on the group coaching program. It's live now. That page is live. It was live since yesterday after the masterclass. So you can check that out. That's superchargeyourself.com/job search system. Okay. You don't have to see that right now. Right now you're here with me. So let's get into our topic of coaching, but I wanted to make sure that you have this information as well. Unqualified. That is precisely the point, Christine. And it's one of the things I want to talk about today. Okay. Now, listen, there's so many types of coaches out there. Okay. I just want to, for the purpose of today, I'll keep it simple. Okay. We have career coaches, life coaches, business coaches, and leadership coaches. Okay. A career coach is essentially, I'll explain the details about career coach in a minute. A life coach, right? The big difference between a career coach and a life coach is a career coach helps you to reach your professional goals faster. A life coach is someone who helps you to reach your personal goals faster. And there are different types of career coaches and there are different types of life coaches. Then there's also someone who's a business coach. That is someone who usually works with entrepreneurs, people who are self-employed, and help them to get their business off the ground. And then there is a leadership coach. Leadership coaches are typically people who work in-house within companies. They'll go in, they get hired for a specific job, and they work with senior leadership teams in different sectors to help them to, get the company goals and people goals moving in the right direction. So essentially, these are the 4 types of coaches out there, right? Now, I also said leadership and life coach, the biggest difference is one is more helping on the professional goals and the other one is more on the personal goals. A career coach is someone who helps in special, in assisting you to either find employment if you are in transition or you are already happily employed somewhere. They help you to move further ahead, right? Essentially, if I had to simplify it, this is what a career coach is doing. Then that's a really, really good point, Jennifer, and I'll be talking about this as well. Hi, Bill. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, it is, and I'm gonna give examples of this because it's appalling, right? And there's some things we need to be careful of. There are scams out there we need to be careful of, and I'll talk about one which has come out very recently. Now that even within career coaches, you have different types of career coaches, right? You have people who work only on career clarity. They help you to get clear on what you want. Then there are people who help on the job search side. That's me, by the way. I do a lot of the job search. Within that, there's interview coaches, people who only do one thing and one thing really well. For example, resume writing. Then there'll be people who help you to write your LinkedIn profile, and that's all they do, right? So And there could be many others, but this is essentially the more popular type of coaches in the career coaching space. As far as I'm concerned, I do a bit of all of that. So I'm a generalist when it comes to career coaching. I help the person to write the resume, but I'm not a resume writer, meaning I'm not going to take it and it'll be a done for you service. It's a done with you service, right? So that is essentially the difference, the different type of career coaches out there. Now, because of the fact that there is exactly what I'm saying, the barriers are so low that anyone can call themselves a coach. You need to do your homework and you need to understand, is the person equipped best to help you with your current situation, right? Now, how do you know you need a career coach? I got five. I've thought about this, okay? There are typically 5 reasons where you think you might need a career coach. Hi, Tina. Yeah, how are you doing? Jennifer, this will help you to understand this better. What are the signs that you need a career coach? The number one sign that you need a career coach, based on the definition I just shared, is that you're experiencing either frustration or overwhelm or a combination of the two. And the source of that is something to do with your career. Maybe you know it, maybe you don't know it, you can't put your finger on it. That is a good sign that you need a career coach. Okay. The second sign that you need a career coach is you've done very well in your career, but now you've reached a plateau. You have like stalled. The momentum has stalled and there is no further movement ahead. So what's happening there? Could be. It could be that you need a career coach. The third sign, you are actively looking for employment, but you're stuck. And that is a problem, right? It means some things that you're doing or some things that you have are not converting. Either when you're going out there and sharing your resume or LinkedIn or whatever, it's not translating and it's not helping you to differentiate, or the interviews are not helping you to differentiate. So the job search is stuck, right? And the fourth sign, you do know you need help. You know what you need to do, exactly what you need to do, but you're struggling with motivation and accountability. Oh my gosh, that is a big one. That is a big one. And I think that is really important. Now, I want to just share this before I get into the comments. This is very typical for me because you need to understand your levels of your sources of motivation. My sources of motivation are external. They're not internal. I'm not very self-disciplined. So you need to know about yourself, okay? And understand your source of motivation and be very honest about that. So I'll give you examples, right? I have 2 or 3 apps on my phone related to exercise and yoga. I've had them, one of them I've had for years, and one I've had for maybe 6 months. Guess how many times I've used them? Nobody's watching me, right? Tell me in the comments if you relate with this. I may have used them maybe 10 or 15 times in years. Years, okay? Now here's a completely different scenario. It's about 3 weeks ago. I signed up to a yoga class. It's virtual. I do it on Zoom. Yoga instructor is sitting in India. And for me, it's 6 in the morning. I wake up at 5:30 for yoga because I struggle with waking up in the morning. But now I've paid someone. So I wake up and we have the session and I don't enjoy it, but I know it's good for me. And I feel so proud of myself later. I could do this myself 100%. And the apps I have are either cheap or free. But I'm paying a yoga instructor and I'm paying good money, but it's working for me. So if you struggle with motivation and accountability, you might need a coach, just like I need a yoga coach. And I'm so happy. I'm feeling much more toned than before. So you need to figure that out. You need to figure out where you would be in this particular space. All right. So if you guys have other questions related to the coaching side of things, as I mentioned, Suresh, I promise we will talk about that next week when we do a Ask Me Anything. Come to France. Oh, yeah. Get in touch with me. Pay for my travel and pay for my hotel. I'll be happy to be there. So Adam says, I've been asked through the years to coach and mentor new hires on their onboarding. in sales, as well as early career colleagues. What type of coaching? That is coaching, I would say. Um, it is, I would say, early stage career coaching, maybe, particularly if, when you say new hires, is that, synonymous with younger type of people, like early careers? Could be, early career coaching, early stage career coaching. It could be something like that, but it is still career, right? It is career advancement. Ah, interesting. Career transition. Yeah, maybe not, right? It depends if it's a certain segment that you end up working a lot with, Adam, because you could also be a very good mentor. I don't want to get into that. There's a difference between mentoring and coaching. But essentially, between a classical coach, which is like a life coach or a leadership coach, we have to be careful there because they are not supposed to be very directive. They're not supposed to be giving you all the answers. They're supposed to help you to reflect and come up with the answers yourself. And the coach can share back those insights with you. But that is important. And I want to just stay here for a minute because this is a tricky one. There is currently something in the news about a scam going on with life coaches in the UK. I don't know if you guys watched that on the BBC. You can Google it. And people have been following a lot of the advice from life coaches blindly. And it's got them in very, very bad problems like divorce, selling the house. Life coaches aren't supposed to have very strong opinions and tell you to do this and tell you to do that. So we have to be very careful about that, right? Adam, what you were saying, it could also be, I don't know, it sounded like a bit like a mentorship, right? Mentoring to help people in that. Hi, Varsha, how are you doing? Thank you for being here, Keith. All right, so we will get into the questions next time. Thank you guys for being here with your questions. And I appreciate them. But like I mentioned, I promise we'll get into the ask me anything, open office hours type of stuff next week. Stefano is a very good coach to follow. He's been on SuperCharged Fridays, I don't know, 2 or 3 times. He's amazing. He's what I would call a coach. He's done the work. Hey, Keith, as a career coach, I would add that we can help anyone whose values do not fit with the organization. Yeah. That's a very good point. So I'm just going to finish there, right? How do you know you need a coach? So we said, a quick recap. You're experiencing a combination of either frustration or overwhelm or both. Your job search is stuck. What was the second one? Your career has reached a plateau. Wherever you are in your career, for whatever reason, it's reached a plateau. Then the fourth one was, you know what you need to do. And you need motivation and accountability. I was sharing there. And the fifth one is, you now have no idea how to differentiate yourself in a crowded labor market. I think, Jennifer, that is, if you're still watching, tell me in the comments if you agree. This becomes a problem for you and you don't know how to differentiate yourself. That is a great time to hire a career coach, because it's very hard to, my friend Risto says, my career transition friend Risto, who's watching us, says that you cannot tickle yourself. It just doesn't work. You need someone else to tickle you, then it works. It's the same way with coaching. You cannot coach yourself. You cannot give yourself the answers you're looking for without some external impetus, right? So that is important. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Lightha. My God, I am appalled. I'm appalled that this sort of stuff is going on. I had no idea. And the whole life coaching and that is one of the problems. Remember, we said in the beginning, anyone can call themselves a coach. So it's worth it for you to do your homework and understand the person. And we'll talk about how do you know if a person is a good coach or not. New hires in the company. Okay. I provide them with insights on company culture. Yeah, that really sounds like, yeah, I get that. I think that can be, you're a very useful and mentor, I think, because there is a subject matter expertise, right? We can get into the semantics of things, but I think that there could be some blurred lines between mentorship and coaching with what you're saying, Adam. So I appreciate that. Amit, good. You need a career coach. Yeah, good. That's the first sign that you think you need a career coach. Now, When do you not need a career coach? I talked about that in the masterclass yesterday as well. And anybody who's written in the comments, whether you're on YouTube, not in the chat, but in the comments, if you've written replay, and same if you've written on LinkedIn, I'll make sure I send that over to you. When do you not need a career coach? That's important as well. Not everybody needs a coach all the time. When do you know you do not need a career coach? I think, okay? If you are already getting plenty of, let's say you're in transition today and you're already getting plenty of leads and you're converting them successfully, I think you're in a good space. And I don't think you necessarily need somebody. Why fix something when it's not broken? So you may not necessarily need a career coach for that. The second, this is a tricky one. You think that a career coach will solve all your career problems. Not necessary, right? The career coach will not take all your problems, make them their own, and then help you and give you all the solutions yourself. Not always. They can help you to poke holes, understand where things have to be done, help you to take care of them. But ultimately, the work has to be done by you, right? I can have amazing clients that do the work. We have a 6-month program that they completed in 3 or 4 months. They're motivated. Some can take longer, some can take a year. So it's not a good or a bad thing. It comes down to how motivated people are. But a career coach is not going to be the person who says, give me these problems. They're not detectives and I'm going to solve all the problems for you. Not always, right? Career coaching is a partnership. It's collaboration, right? And finally, the third one, this is hard because if you are close to working through the difficult stuff, like looking in a mirror, you do not know you're closed. That's the tricky thing. It's kind of a double-edged sword. If you're closed-minded, you may not know you're closed-minded because in your mind, you're open-minded. How do you know that? You can ask close, trusted people for feedback. But it is hard work. It is hard work. Every single person who's been through coaching will tell you it is hard. The results are beautiful, and a lot of the results last a lifetime. So the investment is amazing because the return on investment, it just keeps on giving. It's a gift that keeps on giving. But to go through it, you have to go through stuff that you don't like. You have to go through things that you do not appreciate about yourself. So that you cannot improve something that you cannot see, that you cannot measure, that you cannot name. They need to be named. And it's not easy looking in a mirror. I know this because I not only do coaching, but I've been through coaching. And to take a taste of my own medicine, it's not nice. It's a very bitter pill to swallow. So if you are open to that, you might be a great candidate for a coach. But if you're not for a career coaching, then it may not be the right solution for you. Okay. And I think that matters for sure. Yeah, I agree about tickling. What else is happening in the comments? Lighthouse, yeah. Yeah, documentary on, yeah, I'm talking about that. I unfortunately haven't seen it because it's on something called the BBC Player, something iPlayer. I don't have iPlayer, but I read a synopsis of it and it was very disturbing on how people are getting scammed. All right, I'll definitely be sharing the replay from yesterday's job search masterclass. Hi, Paola. Hola, ¿cómo estás? How much can a career coach help when one is looking to transition in a new job or industry, but you're still in the process of defining the type of change you wish to make? Is this something one should define before reaching out to you, for example? Yeah, when it comes to any type of coaching, I'll talk about this. If you don't mind, it's a very good question, but I promise that I will talk about this in terms of how do you select who you work with, because it's something that I'll be definitely addressing. Jennifer says, I think I need that external perspective. I'm having interviews, but I'm not landing. Oh yeah, I get that. 100% get that. And you know what? It takes courage. So Jennifer, I want to say hats off. Bravo. Brava. It takes courage to put up our hands and say, I think I need help. Because our ego doesn't like it. Our ego says, you've got this figured out. Don't. This is an uncomfortable change. It's trying to keep us safe, right? Our reptilian brain. It's not easy. But if you already have that idea that this is the reason it's not working, I think that's half the battle won. Because that means you're open to finding solutions together with a career coach. So that is amazing. Yeah. It's like medicine prescribed. Completely agree with this. People have to be open and ready for a coach to gently hold their feet to the fire. Uncomfortable, but impactful when done correctly. 100%. 100%. 100%. So, how to know if a career coach is right for you? I got some I got some ideas. I'm going to share a couple of them, and I'll keep this a brief one, right? We don't have to be online for a whole hour. How do you know if a career coach is right for you? I have 4 R's. And if anybody who's a coach who's watching, feel free to add. This is not absolute, of course. The first R is reputation. See them in action. See them in action. Do they share something on social media, on their website? They don't have to have a podcast of their own. If they do, it's great. Shameless plug, I have a podcast. But it's not only that. Have they been on podcasts where they've been a guest and they have opinions they have to share? Are they using their voice? Are they writing a blog? Are they either making YouTube videos, or like I said, they've been interviewed by someone who has a YouTube channel? Everybody and everybody's dog has a YouTube channel these days. It's not a big deal. The point is, are they visible? And because they're visible, do they have a reputation? Or are they invisible and they're never seen? Nobody knows who they are and what they're doing. Something for you to think about. The first R is reputation. And this is in random order, okay? The first R is reputation. The second R is people you have been referred by trusted sources. So it's a coach that someone you respect highly says, work with her, right? This is the oldest thing in the world, right? If I'm looking for a person to fix my roof, I'll call a friend. I'll call a friend and say, do you have a roof guy? Yeah, I have this person. Oh, this is the same thing with any service we're looking for. It is so much easier to call and see why. Because the chances of failure and your risk exposure is minimized. So it is the same thing. And when it's a coaching investment, it's a big investment, right? Roof is not cheap, by the way. I think roof is more expensive than a career coach. It depends on the job. But it is definitely worth it, so that you mitigate the risk of working with someone who's tried and tested, as opposed to someone who's you have nobody has any idea. The third R, and I think, Paola, this is the point you were making. You need to have a very rigorous discovery call. The first call with any career coach is free. Please don't let anybody charge you for the first call. It's quite rare, let me tell you, because if you've never worked together, you need to have the chemistry and discovery call. You also need to see if this is a match, and the coach is not ideally should not be someone who's going to say, I'll work with anyone and everyone because I desperately need to earn money. It shouldn't be that way, because if you're not a good fit, you're not doing yourself a favor and they are not doing themselves a favor. So in the discovery call, it is important to understand so many things. It is important to understand, first of all, you share your problems and the challenges you're going through. Then you listen to them and you listen to their methodologies. How do they work? Do they have frameworks in place? And then see if there is a match. You decide with your brain, and then they decide if there is a match or not. For example, when I was starting out in the beginning, years ago, I was very keen to work with anyone and everyone because you know what? I needed to get in and get my feet wet. But I'm much more strict in my discovery calls now. So, for example, if someone is interested in general communication skills and leadership skills, I'm not the best coach for them. I thrive when I see that they're stuck with job search and career transition. And job search, by the way, doesn't have to be only external, right? I've helped even clients inside the company to secure extremely like 2-3 level up senior positions. So it depends. But that is the thing that I thrive in. And again, if you are interested in getting into the job search, worth it to check out, because I have just launched a group coaching program. And if you're interested, I'd love to work with you. It would be my honor. superchargeyourself.com/job search system. I'm taking in students for a 10-week coaching program. So this is important that you do your homework in terms of the three. So far, I've covered three R's, right? The reputation. Are they referred by trusted sources? Have you had a rigorous discovery call, at least 45 minutes to an hour, right? And in fact, they shouldn't be looking at time and giving you pressure tactics and all those cheap things, like, oh, did you make up your mind yet? Come on, I need to know, are you going to work with me or not? And the fourth R is results. Do they have results? Do they have social proof that they do what they say they do, right? If they've helped clients, can you speak with a former client? I'm very protective and I'm very protective of my client's privacy. However, if someone wants to work, a prospect wants to speak with a former client, I will let the former client know. The person says, yeah, no problem. And they have a call together. That's okay. But I'm not going to randomly just give out anybody's name and phone number and all that. No freaking way. No way. But so how can you do that? How can you check their results? You can check their recommendations on LinkedIn. If they have 0 recommendations on LinkedIn, or they have 1 recommendation from 2008, check out their website. The thing I like about LinkedIn is that those are not anonymous recommendations, because it's not like anyone can make up recommend. That's another problem with the coaching industry, right? It's not regulated. So who's going to check what they've actually done? Have they actually done what they say they've done? When it's LinkedIn, you can check the source, who actually said that. And I've had people reach out to me all the time, by the way. I worked with maybe 4 or 5 coaches in the last few years. And when I worked with a coach and I gave that person a positive recommendation, I've had people reach out saying, hey, Sonal, I saw that you worked with her. She must be good. I'm like, oh, yeah, she is good. Otherwise, I would not have worked with her, right? And they saw that because I had given that person a recommendation. So check their recommendations. It's really, really important. And you see the results, right? Because then you can also imagine those results for yourself. So I hope this has been helpful, right? Because we're talking about, I'm going to get into your questions, but I'm quickly going to do a summary closer to the end. Hi, Marcello. Thank you for being here. Najim, good questions. Is locus of control with me? How can a coach push me through my comfort zone? Okay. The control is always with you, for sure. For sure. It shouldn't feel like, yeah, on one hand, the coach is driving the conversation to some extent, right? But there has to be a clear outcome defined for every single session, because you're not wasting your time and they are not wasting their time. And coaches have different styles to gently nudge you out of your comfort zone. And one of the most easy ways they can do that is ask non-assuming questions. Like they don't know anything. There is complete innocence. And the questions they ask you are not coming from a place of judgment. Why didn't you do it this way? What was your thought process when you decided to do it this way? They're forcing you to think about things that you have not thought about and giving you a different perspective without giving their own opinions, right? That's a classic coach. A career coach can be a little bit more directive than that, right? Because typically for a career coach, there is a little more like, it's a bit more tangible and a bit more concrete than a life coach or a leadership coach, which are hard to quantify. Do you know what I mean? I hope this helps. If one can, one must go to a career coach. Thank you. Yes, I completely agree. I think that it can be absolutely life-changing. So I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to do a quick recap. If you're joining me late, we have been talking about what is a career coach, right? What are the different types of coaches out there? Career coach, life coach, business coach, leadership coach, the basic, the most sort of popular ones. A career coach is someone who typically is someone who helps you with maximizing your career plan, have more clarity, maximize your potential and your growth. Essentially, that is what a career coach is doing. And also the fact that if you are in transition today, they help you to find employment. They get you ready. And if you are already employed, they help you to advance your career. There can be different types of career coaches who have different specialties: resume, LinkedIn, interviews, job search, overall job search. career clarity. There are career coaches that specialize in detoxifying, helping people to. I have friends like that, and their specialty is helping you to, get over burnout, for example, or help you to get out of toxic work environments. So there are so many types, honestly, out there. And we talked about different signs that you need a coach. When you are experiencing frustration, overwhelm, you've seen a plateau in your career, your job search is stuck. Number four, we said, was when you're stuck and you're struggling with motivation or accountability. And finally, when you don't know how to distinguish yourself, differentiate yourself from the rest in a crowded market. When you know you do not need a coach, that is also important. When you are getting the right, if you're in transition today, you're getting the right leads and you're converting them successfully, I don't think you need to fix anything that's broken there, because it's not broken. You think that just by hiring a career coach, all your problems will be solved, because it's much more deep than that. And you're someone who struggles with going through the difficult, deep stuff, when particularly you get into murky waters and things get uncomfortable. It may be a difficult match for you. And speaking of match, how do you know when you are selecting the coach if the person is right for you or not? It comes down to homework. We talked about the 4 R's: their reputation, their referrals, a rigorous discovery call, and their results that are visible, that you can see on social media. Hey, Studious Hippo. Okay. Does a career coach need to have a background in what they're coaching? It would help for sure. Remember, we said it's a very irregulated industry. It does help if they know how to coach. It does help if they have studied and taken it seriously, right? And if they have studied how to be a coach and they have some certifications or licenses in place, it does help. Definitely. I would personally think, in my opinion, I think it's a must, because there is also liability if something happens. And when you have that certification, you're also protecting yourself, right? So, personal opinion, somebody could disagree. This is what I think. Yeah, so there will be career coaches that specialize, let's say, in tech or in SaaS. You can find them. But you'll also have career coaches like me. Like the way I help is I help people across the board. I mean, I've worked with, I've worked with nurse, MBAs, hedge fund, M&A, strategy, finance, HR. I've worked across the board. So I used to have a specific niche, and I used to work with people who have a master's degree, who have worked for 20 to 25 years, and who have lived and worked outside their home country. That used to be my niche, because that was something I could relate with. And I did that for the first couple of years, and I did that really, really well. But I noticed that the people who were reaching out, the profile was just changing and it became broader and broader. So it is still definitely job search. But you can definitely look for specialized career coaches as well. I think that's a really, really good idea. It's a very good point. Thank you, Stefano. Appreciate you being here. All right, fab. Thank you. So if there are no other questions, thank you for being here. Last but not the least, I want to just highlight that if you are stuck in your career and you do not know, particularly in a career transition, and you're not able to move forward and you're stuck, you don't understand why you're stuck, I have just yesterday opened up my group coaching program called the SuperCharged Job Search System. Check it out. I have the page right here, superchargeyourself.com/job search system. I shared a lot of my learnings in the masterclass yesterday. And if you're interested in the masterclass, you have commented here, replay. I will share that with you for sure. And that'll be live for about 24 hours. So check that out. If you have questions, email me. I mean, all my contact information, everything is there on LinkedIn and my website. And if you are stuck, I would be honored to work together. Take care, and I shall see you next Friday at the very same time. Have a good Friday and a